For today's tabletop testing, we're going to be looking at Gardevoir EX. This, of course, was the big winner of the NAIC, with, of course, 6 of the top 8 spots and eventually falling in the finals, but still having a fantastic run. We're going to be building the 60 in a very similar way here, but now with the expectation of more mirror matches, possibly Charizard as well picking up in play with the new Dusknoir. I feel like the TM Devolution is a worthy inclusion, as well as increasing our Munkidori and Fluttermane counts to 2 of each, so we have plenty of damage counter placement, and hopefully allowing us to punish a number of evolving decks. With Double Monkey and Fluttermane in the list and being so prevalent as attackers, we should always be threatening any additional bench Pokemon coming into play, giving Gardevoir a ton of control over the opponent's board state. Of course, we are still relying on the TM Evolution to get us into play, and we are looking to fall behind in a prize race so that we can capitalize with the likes of Iono and Unfair Stamp. There is somewhat of a concern that Pheasantipede EX is coming into a number of archetypes to counteract this strategy, but Gardevoir is very capable at dealing with those bench threats, either with a buffed up Screamtail with a Bravery Charm, or with Counter Catcher bringing that Pheasantipede into the active to combine with your Hand Disruption. If you're looking for PTCG live codes, make sure you check out the Potown store. You can get a 5% discount on your orders using that code OmniPoke. So we're getting into our first game. Jack is going to be playing a Gardevoir EX on the right in the red sleeves, and I am playing Charizard on the left in the blue sleeves. And I am going to go first here. I have the Radiant Charizard start, whereas Jack starts with the Radiant Greninja, and I have Buddy Buddy Poffin in hand. I think I actually have 2 in hand, so I'm going to have a pretty nice start developing a number of basics here. As we do see the second one come down, which means I can develop not only Pidgey and a couple Charmander, but also the Duskull in there as well. Definitely a card that is powerful in the Charizard archetype. Not necessarily to ramp the Burning Darkness in this situation, but if I can use Dusknoir to catch some Pokemon out on Jack's board, I can take out some key threats whilst giving up a prize that oftentimes doesn't matter too much if I just keep representing multi-prizes. Looks like I'm going to attach a Fire to Charmander and just pass things over Jack's way. We're going to see a Concealed Cards to kick off his turn here, and we're going to see a turn attachment as well as a TM Evolution. But we only have the Drifloon so far, so Jack is going to use Iono here and really hope to find some Buddy Buddy Poffin or Ralts. Ooh, I do see 1 Ralts, and I see a Hisuian Heavy Ball as well, just showing Jack that even though I had a 4-card hand, it was a pretty strong one. Jack is going to Hisuian here, and unfortunately no Ralts to be found in his prizes, just a Fluttermane. So he will be able to TM Evo into a Curlier, but it's not really the ideal situation. You want to have plenty more Ralts. So that was an unfortunate dig there with the Iono. But you're still getting at least 1 developed here. And with the Radzard in my active specifically, it might be difficult for me to target down that Curlier. So that could be the only good news for Jack here, as we are going to end on a TM Evo. And grab that Refinement Curlier. As we pass things over to me here, I'm going to start things off with an Ultra Ball, getting rid of another Poffin and a Fire Energy. See Luminion. Do I have to go Turo here to maybe move my Charizard? Oh, it's going to be an Arven. Okay. Going to see Candy and Forest Seal Stone. So I've got some combos coming out, no doubt. It's going to be classic Pidgeot. No, it's going to be Candy Dusknoir. This is the way that I can punish Jack's lone Curlier, actually. The Cursed Bomb. It's a prize apiece, but to get rid of Jack's only Curlier, that is definitely the right trade-off. And I think from the prizes, I even hit the Pidgeot, so I can Forest Seal Stone Pidgeot now and use Quick Search. What a crazy swing. Yeah, that's absolutely wild how things have worked out here. I have a couple candies down, but if I'm Quick Searching for Charmeleon, yeah, it's going to be Charmeleon here. If I know I'm not attacking anyway, I can just go Charmeleon and slowly evolve up this guy, and it completely changes what Jack can do. He's an Evo down and a Curlier down now. He still has to find lots more basics. What do we see? We see an Arven. That can go Poffin plus Evo if the second one's in the deck. But that's a huge swing turn. Very, very dangerous from the Dusknoir. You can, like I said, this card doesn't always come up, but it always creates such strange scenarios. And it would have been ideal if I could have attacked as well, obviously, for just insane pressure. But you still take it on reflection that Jack's going to have another turn off here. Looks like he is spying a Poffin plus Evo player. Yeah, it's going to be just another turn of developing here. The good news is he does have that second Evo available, so it is going to go once again onto the Radiant Greninja. And he's going to Buddy Buddy Poffin up. And grab more Ralts, so finally getting established on this board. And looks like he's just going to be evoing here. Yep, into double Curlier. Pass things over to me. I still have this annoying Radiant Zard that I have to get rid of. I do have the Charizard EX in hand though, and I think I have Rod, so I might just be using the Infernal Rain here to retreat this Radiant Charizard. Not ideal. But that is exactly what we're going to see, so I can go into Charizard EX, and we're just going to Rod back the 3-fire that I retreated with. Going to quickly Artisan. And we're grabbing a Pidgey. This might just be an awareness of Jack playing TM Devo and maybe looking to set up my Pidgeot on the bench. As now we see the quick search. Not sure what the ideal... I think I only have 2 in hand, so maybe it's just Iono for the refresh here. Jack has 5 in hand, but it's not a big issue. I don't think Boss's orders is worthwhile when I only play 2 in the deck, so... Yep, it is going to be Iono for the refresh here. Pretty solid opener, to be honest. We're only going up 1 prize, but at least we're on even prizes. That is a lot of pressure for Jack, who needs to keep putting Gardevoir EX in play, you would imagine. As we are just going to swing into the Radiant Greninja and take out some draw in the process, which is nice. Let's see how the 5 cards have treated Jack. Well, I think the Drifloon might be coming active here. At least Jack has some good draw to work with and a number of Psychic Energy, so we should be able to develop an attacker at the very least. Oh, he's picked up a Counter Catcher as well, which is intriguing. There's a couple Psychic already in the discard pile for him. He can refine a couple more away. Or is he debating the Artisan first here as a potential option before using any refinement? He might just want to get Monkey Dory out early of the deck. Might also want to get just Flutter. Oh, he actually has Monkey Dory in hand, so possibly Flutter Mane's the better option, just to get as much spread on this board as possible. Cresselia can do an interesting line, like a guaranteed prize attack, maybe. It is going to be the Flutter Mane in the end. I do like this choice, because the Hex Hurl does set up such nice numbers with the 30s that you're throwing around with Monkey Dory anyway. I'm going to see a couple cards from these refinements, and as expected, some Psychics are hitting the discard pile. We see Arven in hand now for him. A few options, by the looks of things. There is still the option to Unfair Stamp from Arven as well. So we could Ultra Ball, find Guardy, EX, Evolve Up, and then Stamp. He's going to discard just another Psychic as well as Nest Ball here. And we're grabbing Guardy EX, and then we're going to play the Arven. That's going to be Vessel just for more... Oh, so we can grab the Darkness Energy and get working on the Monkey Dory. That makes sense as well. I suppose saving the Stamp for when you can get rid of the Pidgeot also makes sense here. Try and maximize the value of that swing card. This is going to be the Vessel. Not an easy choice of discard, but he's just going to get rid of a second Arven that was in hand. It does force him to rely a little bit more on more refinement, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And we're going to see a Shuffle Up here. So I imagine he's going to retreat this Drifloon and Hex Hurl with some Monkey Dory action coming in this turn. We are going to see the Evolve Up into the EX, and then we're going to get some energy on the Drifloon. Then we're going into the Flutter. I feel like we need to bench Monkey and attach still. Yep, there we go. So we can begin to start using the Adrenabrain. It's going to put 3 on Pidgey. And he was just double checking with the 90 hit point Charmeleon underneath this Charizard. It works out really nicely. And he's going to hurl 2 more onto a bench Charmander, which also works pretty nicely. So looking good for him. This is actually one of the reasons why we play 60 hit point Pidgey these days. It's partly because of Dusknoir, but also partly because Monkey Dory plus Flutter Mane is the 50. So having the 60 means that Jack has to go about dealing with these basic Pidgeys and devoing the Pidgeot in different means. Normally multiple uses of Monkey Dory. For my turn, it's just going to be Pidgeot scouting Boss, and we're going to go down to 2 prizes. It seems like a reasonable play. There's some terrifying things Jack can do next turn with my board. But just capitalize on the Pidgeot while it's here and put Jack in that really odd position of losing as long as there's a Guardy EX and a Gust play from me at any point in the future. So we just go down to the 2. Jack now has to Hand Disrupt. Probably wants to Devo as well, to be honest with you. Well, he's going to start by taking the 1 with Adrenabrain off the Flutter Mane to KO my Pidgey. And then we're going to see an Artisan. So he did get a free prize out of my Pidgey. Maybe looking back, it wasn't the best idea to put that down so early on. It was one of those things where it was a free search from the Artisan. I can see what was in mind, but also just having that vulnerability was a freebie for Jack. I suppose he could have just done that on a Charmander anyway, if the Pidgey wasn't there. Like, that Charmander would have been at 5 and then gone to 7 with the Monkey Dory regardless, so maybe it's not too big of a deal. He's debating the Artisan, whether it's worth getting a Monkey Dory out here, and it is going to be second Monkey Dory. Definitely terrifying. Now he could still take out the Charmander on the bench, but that would mean that he wouldn't take out the Charizard in the active. Let's see here. He's done the first refinements. Oh, he's picked up Devo and has Iono in hand. That's really dangerous. Has the counter catcher to boot here. Going to bring up the Radiant Charizard. He'll be putting me down to 2 cards, and I'll be losing my Charizard and the Pidgeot. This is pretty powerful. I had a massive hand, gone down to 2. He has the unfair stamp as well if he wanted to dig. It's a strange situation where he might think that there's not another situation where he'll be giving up a prize, but no, he's just going to hold on to the stamp. He does take out the Charmeleon. And he goes down to 3 prizes, but with a great trap here. The Fluttermane is blocking my Radiant Charizard from its own Excited Heart ability, and it has that massive retreat cost. Starting this Pokemon has been a huge headache for me this game, no doubt. I do have Arven, so I can Candy into Pidgeot again. But what can Pidgeot get me here? The main means of moving this Zard is Churro, of course. I'm just going to Candy up into another Charizard. Looks like I'm putting a couple energy on the Radzard. That doesn't work out because the Fluttermane's still blocking me. I think I'd make this change during the turn, actually. I think it's much smarter just on the EX. Just something that we obviously have to remember. It should definitely be on this EX, if I'm passing anyway. Let's make... Oh, it is still going to go on the Charizard? No, this has to go on the EX, right? Yeah, it does have to go on the EX. Took me a minute, but we got there. I still do have 1 fire in hand, but I might just be holding it for next turn, accepting that I probably have to use Churro. I'm going to swing Defiance Band onto this board, and I'm just going to pass over to Jack. I think one thing I would have liked here is using Artisan for Manaphy, actually. Well, Jack's board is full anyway, so maybe not even. No, that would just give the Fluttermane an extra prize. But I am curious. I am, like, aware that Jack's strat to, like, trap this Radzard is definitely part of his comeback here. We're going to see a Rod. Really important for Jack to get Curlier and Gardevoir back in the mix. He definitely wants to evolve both of his benched evolution Pokemon there. And has 1 big refinement. It's going to get rid of Buddy Buddy Poffin. What do we see from Jack? Oh, picked up the Arven, which is nice. Does he have to go Ultra Ball here just for Curlier? Well, I suppose if Gardevoir EX is KO'd, he just loses on the spot anyway, so you don't necessarily need that backup unless you just want extra draw. Thinking of Counter Catcher again coming into the hand. He's definitely having a think here. This is a tough choice. You want to get value from your Arven, and it's just getting Counter Catcher by the looks of things. Just as a piece for next turn. Seems reasonable. No, he's going to change it. It's going to be... Oh, Poffin can't be right. Yeah, Vessel seems fine. You just get another Monkey Dory activation this turn. Yeah, that seems reasonable, whilst thinning the deck. He's going to throw away the Cresselia with the Vessel, grab Psychic Darkness. Means he can just take advantage of Adrenabrain just one more time here. So I think if Jack attacks with Fluttermane this turn, he would set up Monkey Dory quite nicely for the following turn. If he Monkey Dories some damage to the active this turn, and then he'd be looking to like finish off my Luminion from his side of things. He did have Ultra Ball, so could get another refinement in. He is going to move the 2 off this Drifloon, and it is going to go active. Yeah, so I like the setup here. He's used Adrenabrain to set up for double Adrenabrain next turn to KO the Zard in the active, and then he'd be looking to close on the Luminion. Or with the Bravery Charm Drifloon, that would work out. I am going to Pidgeot for the Churro. That was the only issue, but because I was pretty much locked into that play from how he'd set my board up. And I am going to go into Charizard, and I have this bad situation where I'm a little bit worried about my Pidgeot getting KO'd, so I still put down the Radzard and the energy here. Maybe this was just a big mistake, because I know that he still had the other Counter Catcher in deck. He did show it to me, but I wanted to have something after this Charizard. Like, there's nothing stopping Jack just using Drifloon, taking out Charizard, and stamping me down. I'd still have Pidgeot, but I wouldn't have guaranteed Zard energy. So I put Zard energy down as just this response if this Zard goes down. But looking back, it does open up some lines for Jack. I knew this was a really tough choice at the time, because it's definitely a catch-22. I know Jack can punish it if it's there. I know he can punish it if it's not there, if that makes sense. I think possibly the best thing would just be get another Charmander down, but I don't think that was an option from the Artisan. Again, this was maybe the spot where I Artisan out the Manaphy, because I was opening up the bench space for the Screamtail, which is actually coming down now. And Jack is going to Unfair Stamp. Me down to 2. I think the idea is almost always attack with the Drifloon, but he has picked up the... Well, he can't use the Drifloon now, right? Because I'm representing a different board. But from the 5 cards, he has found Counter Catcher, so he can make the Screamtail play now. So would I have been in a perfect spot if I just got the Manaphy out? Probably, right? If I'd Artisaned out Manaphy there, he could Countercatch Radzard still. And... Well, yeah, the Screamtail wouldn't be ideal. It would be a weird spot. Maybe he'd have to swing with... No, I don't even know what he'd swing with there. Yeah, I think if I had got Manaphy there, I'd be in a much better position. He's actually going to trade the Unfair Stamp for 1 fewer card with INO instead. But this is a really nice setup. The Countercatcher play plus the Stamp INO will allow Jack to not take prizes. We're going to see the Monkey Dory 6 onto the active, and he's just going to spread onto the Lumineon to not KO it, so I can't just Radzard for game with Jack at 3 prize cards. And clearly I don't have the energy. You can see in my discard pile there's 3 far in the bin and 3 in play, so I can't just Pidgeot for game here. It would be a simple attachment KO. And from the 2 cards, I clearly don't have like Arven or something like that, because that would be my way to close. I'm going to Artisan out the Manaphy late to the party, because now it doesn't make a difference. It would have made a massive difference last turn, though. And as you can see, if I can't win this turn, I've got to find a way to not lose next turn, because he's representing game. So I'm going to boss the Curlier in hope that he's commit enough energy like across this board that he can't move this Curlier. That's the only thing I can do, and I just pass things over. But Jack does have the Churro that he needs to Monkey Dory 3 to take out the fish. And he can then Screamtail the active for the final prize. So the game got a little bit close there. I think maybe looking back, I made the mistake with the Radiant Charizard and not putting down the Manaphy. That was probably the bigger mistake. But regardless, we're moving into the next game here. This time I'm going to be playing Dragapult Pidgeot. Jack is still going to be on the Gardevoir deck. You can see on the right. And here we go then. I start with Radiant Alakazam, and I'm going first. Jack starts with the Manaphy, which is far from ideal, taking up a bench space. I have a lovely Buddy Buddy Poffin to kick off my turn here, so I can at least get Dreepy plus Pidgey developed. Looking pretty solid. Let's see what else I have access to. I can see Energy in hand. I see Ultra Ball as well, so I can end on a Rotom. Actually going to throw away Vessel plus Poffin, and it is going to be for the Rotom. Never a bad thing to end on the +3 from Instant Charge. I'm going to bench another Dreepy. I'm actually going to attach to the Radiant Alakazam, which can attack in this deck, of course. But it also might be because my last card in hand was the rescue board, so it could also be looking to retreat that next turn. That's kind of a nice start with Vesseling away a Psychic Energy. He flings out a Psychic in the dark. And then it's going to Artisan out a Ralts. He's going through his deck pretty quickly. I wonder if he's eyeing up an Evo play already here. Yeah, he's not shuffling up just yet. And there it is. We see second Ralts and just naturally Raw had the Evo. No supporter, but had what he needed to get an attack in here to get double Curly developed. A nice turn from him. Pass over to myself. How did the Rotom treat me? Do I have means into rare candy shenanigans here. Well, it's going to be rescue board onto the Alakazam. And we're going to artisan out a Duskull here. We are trying the 1/1/1 package in Dragapult. It can lead to some devastating turns. And we're going to refresh the hand for both of us with Iono for 6. Not ideal, but I didn't have any better players from that hand. So Jack does get a bonus 3 cards here. Did that get us any closer to any Dracloak? I don't think it did. I think I'm holding on to Candy. I've got the Neo Upper in hand, but no, I'm just going to have to draw 3 from Rotom. That's a real miss. To whiff stage 1s, obviously the high roll would be a Candy combination there. But yeah, just no Dracloak at all is probably a big problem there. Also just a basic energy to attack with Alakazam. Because I Iono Jack up, I could have KO'd this Manaphy and just started a prize race, which would have been funny. But yeah, missing on both those fronts is a shame. Jack's going to get a free Buddy Buddy Poffin here to get another Ralts, a Drifloon, and is then going to... Oh, yeah, he's going to switch his mind up. Just going to go for a Ralts. Keep the board space open for potential Monkey Dory. And he's picked up a Cresselia as well. We're going to see Refinement getting rid of a TM Evo. Looks like we're going to see Guardy EX hit the board. And we see an Earthen Vessel, so he can thin even more energy here. Tossed away an Ultra Ball. No, going to switch things up for the Flutter Mane. And we're going to see Double Psychic. That can now be Ultra Ball fodder. He might want to use the other Curlier first. But he is holding on to Iono, so possibly just wants to bin the energy now before the fresh 6. Yeah, he's going to utilize that final board space for a Monkey Dory. The quicker you can develop Adrenabrain, the better. And we are going to see the fresh 6-card hand. Again, reducing my hand. My hand was actually really good because I was holding Neo Upper and Rare Candy. It just wasn't good immediately. So this Iono was the last thing I wanted to see. Jack's going to be able to get rid of another Psych Energy with his second Curlier. Do we see Darkness Energy? Can we start seeing Monkey Dory action here? I think there is one in hand. We're going to go into the Cress. We're going to put 2 on to 3 Pokemon. And he's just going to plonk that damage with Moonglow Reverse onto the Pidgey for the 60. I do get into a Dracloak. Looks like I'm holding on to Ultra Ball. I have Pidgeot in hand. I'm going to Ultra Ball away Manaphy and Buddy Buddy Poffin. And I'm just going to take another Dracloak. So I think I'm locking myself into an attack with Radiant Alakazam here, whilst I just have a redevelop turn. It's not great. I'm not going to lie. It's been a slower start for the Pult. We're going to see a first Recon Directive. I think that was a Forest Seal Stone though, so that might open up the hand a bit more. Going to see a Fire Energy onto the Radiant Alakazam. That's pretty cool. And we are just going to take the prize with Radiant Alakazam. 20x the number of cards in your opponent's hand, and Jack had 8 or more cards, so that's enough to deal with a Cress at least. You got to do what you got to do in these spots. Jack's going to go into Gardevoir EX. He can definitely do some scary things. If he gets Screamtail in the mix, he could deal with the Pidgey again. I'm going to see Buddy Buddy Poffin. I think there was Screamtail in the deck, so he might just use Artisan for that. Yep, it is going to be denying my Pidgey more than likely. With no energy on either Dracloak, it doesn't make really too much sense to take out one of those. Maybe there's a strange line where he takes out Duskull just so I can't use Dusclops. But probably he wants to keep targeting my engine. Just leave me with Recon Directives. We are going to see 2 Psychic embraced onto the active for that retreat. We're going to see... Ooh, Monkey Dory doesn't have the Darkness Energy yet, but it will eventually. I think we catch this later down the line. Jack is just going to load up on this Screamtail so it can deal the 80 for the Pidgey. Yeah, Jack did eventually remember to put the Darkness Energy on for the Adrenabrain that went onto my Rotom. Also, he's just going to throw an Iono at us. Is able to develop another Curlier, which is nice. He's going to throw away Darkness Energy. No, he's going to change things up for a Flutter Mane. God, he's still just such a decision-heavy deck. You do have to think about everything. But he's going to continue to deal with these Pidgeys and deny my Pidgeots EX just for another turn. Let's see what I can do here. I have Arven in hand, so maybe I can get towards Forest for Neo Upper. That would be nice. We're going to see a couple directives. I think it's Ultra Ball and Candy, was it? No, it's Boss's Orders coming into the hand. We do see an Arven, so Forest Hill Stone is looking really good. Forest will get the Neo Upper. It looks like Counter Catcher's my other choice. This is a really powerful turn. Forest Hill Stone for Neo Upper, so I can attack with Dragapult EX this turn. You have to imagine if I'm using Counter Catcher, it's going to be on a Curlier, and then I could use Radiant Alakazam to take out both, and that would be all of Jack's draw power gone. Yeah, there's Dragapult EX plus Neo Upper energy. Counter Catcher will take a Curlier. And Jack has been nasty in taking out my Pidgeys, so I'm going to respond in kind. I should actually remove an energy off this Alakazam, right? It has a 2 retreat cost. One of those energies should definitely be off this card. Not sure if we pick this up, actually. I hope we do. I'm pretty sure I don't attack with the Alakazam again, but that would be pretty bad otherwise. Yeah, it is going to be double Curlier going. And we go down to 3 prize cards. Jack goes back into Screamtail now. I think with the energy spread around his board, he might find it difficult to Drifloon through us. Oh, he's actually just going to swap his lead before drawing for turn. He's then going to Monkey Dory. Or no, he's going to, Psychic Embrace energy to the active. Monkey Dory does eventually hit the board. Is Jack thinking about 60 and Confusion turn here, perhaps? Another energy coming onto the Guardy, so he can make full use out of Adrenabrain. He could double Brain KO the Duskull this turn. And then maybe just punch in with the Gardevoir EX and hope it's large. Does find his own Counter Catcher. Okay, so he's going to Counter Catch up. Oh, he's thinking about Dracloak. It would make sense if he's taking out the Duskull with the Monkey Dory. Yeah. And then he's going to throw an Unfair Stamp. This is nice. He's once again disrupted my engine for another turn. And in doing so, it's going to stamp us down low. Double Monkey will take out Duskull, whilst healing the Guardy. Gonna see a Suion, just to burn it. Might be debating a Super Rod here, because there are some Curlier in the bin. Yeah, it's just going to go 1 Curlier, double Curlier, okay. Try and get some semblance of draw back on this board. And he will go down to 2. And he's representing boss for game next turn, right? So that's the plan, at least, on my Rotom. We're going to throw down a Dreepy, and we're going to Artisan. And I'm going to grab another Dreepy. I'm going to Alakazam off the active to finish off the Screamtail with the bench damage, whilst damaging the Gardevoir EX. So I'm really hoping Jack doesn't have Flutter Mane here. If he has access to Flutter Mane, he could take out just a Dreepy. Well, maybe that's not a big problem either, actually. Yeah, this might be a decent spot for me, to be fair. Going to see 6 come off the active onto my active. How close can he get with a Drifloon is the question, really. He's just used a Rod. The Bravery Charm's on the Ralts that he used to protect it. He does have Nest in hand. He does have Drifloon in hand, actually. Yeah, the hand's not great, but he does have Churro. Yeah, he's going to pick up the Gardevoir EX entirely here. Goes into Manaphy. He's going to evolve into Curlier and can draw a couple here. Possibly going Monkey Dory just to Mind Bend was the best choice here. Make it a little bit more difficult for me to attack with my Dragapult so easily. I have no like bench threat whatsoever. Yeah, I think honestly looking back, Monkey Dory might have been the move. I think he has Nest Ball in hand, so he should be able to get this Greninja anyway. Yep. Can still continue to draw a little bit here. No, it's going to choose not to. Okay. Just going to fail the Nest Ball. Another Ralts comes down instead. Nest Ball comes back to the hand, unplayed. And he's just going to pass things over. Yeah, I definitely prefer the Monkey Dory here. I've got a Nightly Stretcher for a Dracloak. And we're going to see two. So I can't win this turn. But I can just spend... Ooh, wow. TM Devo coming to the hand would pick up Jack's only Curlier. Oh, if I can do this with Nightly Stretcher, I can redevelop Duskull. I know I would have no attack coming back my way. And yeah, that would set up a Dusclops to close the game. So here we see it. We see the Nightly Stretcher for Duskull. Devo to the active. And yeah, we are just going to devolve Jack's one Curlier there. And I think I've set up Dusclops to close here. It really did feel like the Mind Bend would have been the play last turn for Jack. I wouldn't have had that line open, that's for sure. Let me see a Psychic on the active. Or maybe he didn't have the Psychic last turn. I was thinking about the Churro, but all those energy went to the discard pile, right? So maybe it just wasn't open to him. We'll give him benefit of the doubt. We're going to see double Curlier now, at least, redeveloped. Let's see. Second Refinement is going to throw away Drifloon. He picks up Boss. I think he has Iono in hand as well. And you think I only ever make that Nightly Stretcher play if I have Dusclops in hand, right? Surely. He's going to Arven. It's going to be for Super Rod. Rod back in Screamtail to deny my Dracloak draw, perhaps. Or to just take out the Duskull. Let's see. It's going to be Psychic and Screamtail back into the deck. But yeah, he can't attack with a Screamtail this turn anyway. Because I devoed. I think Iono had to be the stronger line there as well. Because I only ever make the Nightly Stretcher play if I have it, right? So yeah, we are able to Dusclops, put 5 onto the Curlier, and then we'll take out the Curlier alongside the active. So maybe a little bit... Well, maybe I'm wrong in that he didn't have access to Psychic to use the Mind Bend anyway, but I think that would have been stronger. And then the Iono on the last turn, I feel like you have to respect that if I'm making the line, I have access to it, rather than a Screamtail that wasn't, like, imminently important. But regardless, we're getting into a game against Raging Bolt now. I'm playing Raging Bolt on the left, Jack still on Guardy, and I've started off with a Sandy Shocks, Jack with a Monkey Dory in the active, and I'm going to Nest Ball here. And I'm pretty certain I prize Squawkabilly this game. So we're going to go Radiant Greninja instead. I think I had a handful of games of Raging Bolt, and I prized Squawkabilly an unholy amount of times. We're going to swap to an Ogerpon EX instead. It's one less card, but it's at least an attacking threat, potentially. We're going to Pokestop, and at least that works out. We get Nest Ball and Trekking Shoe. So I have a few more bites of the cherry to see more cards from the deck. We eventually do get the Greninja down now. We can Trekking Shoe. We're going to get rid of a Nest Ball. Looks like a Pokegear was picked up. I have no energy in this hand. I really needed an energy to be discarded from the Pokestop, so I just have to pass. It's a very slow turn for the Raging Bolt. Jack's going to start with Arven here. Looks like he's eyeing up the textbook Evo play, because he's putting Curliers to the top. Yeah, has energy in hand. Seems like your classic Poffin plus Evo play. Poffin double Rolts. I'm going to see Energy Evo. Has been like clockwork for the Guardi. I think that's happened every time. In game 1 it was only one Curlier, admittedly, but I'm going to throw a Pokegear into the mix. We do hit a Sada. Now I think we really need to Pokestop and discard an energy. Because otherwise we're in a whole heap of trouble. Am I eyeing up an Ultra Ball here? No, it's just going to be the Pokestop first. And there we go, couple Energy and Raging Bolt. That's exactly what we need. So the Energy Retrieval can come in and I can draw 2 more with the Radiant Greninja. Looks like I see Ogerpon and Nest Ball. I think I'm still just missing out on Vessels. Vessels would entirely unlock the hand. We're going to Nest Ball for a Raging Bolt EX. I'm going to Sada the Lightning and draw 3. I'm going to throw Iron Bundle into the mix. Am I? No, I'm not. I can't attack anyway, I don't think, by the looks of the hand. I have a manual attachment, but I whiffed on Grass Energy and Vessel. If I have Grass or Vessel, I can at least swing with the Sandy Shocks. And with the bundle, I would have been able to take out a Curlier. But yeah, just no Grass Energy or Vessel is so rough. So it looks like I'm just attaching to Raging Bolt and passing. It's so bad. The aggro deck not being aggro is just pretty woeful. I'm going to bench another Ogerpon, and I'm going to pass. Feels really bad. If I could have taken out the Curlier there with the bundle, with Sandy Shocks taking the knockout, would have been amazing. The Rolts have that resistance, but the Curliers don't, so the Sandy Shocks is actually better at dealing with Curliers than they are Rolts. Jack's going to attach an energy to the Monkey Dory. That at least means he can retreat and sort of protect a Darkness energy. And then he's going to think about using Iono here. Think about using Ultra Ball maybe first. He's going to Curlier first, gets rid of Ultra Ball. Must have prized some Rolts, right? He's just going to grab Screamtail here. Nope, thinks again. Jack really doesn't know what he wants to do with this turn. He's just going to Refinement again then? Yeah, it's going to be another Refinement. He does hit energy for this Ultra Ball though, and then he switches things up with an Arven. He's going to grab Hisuian, because yes, as expected, he has prized some of these Rolts. And the Devo is just fodder for this Ultra Ball. And are we finally seeing the Screamtail? No Flutter, perhaps? Screamtail doesn't do a lot. He's once again... Okay, he's going to Nest Ball. Jack's killing me right now. Okay, he's going to Nest Ball for a Greninja and see 2 more cards. This is sequencing. Oh my god, he got so unbelievably rewarded. He hit Psychic as well off that. Insane. I suppose that's why you draw first. Now Screamtail can do meaningful damage. By the looks of things, he can retreat this Monkey Dory, and the Screamtail will allow Jack to deal like 120, I think. He is going to finally recover this Rolts at the prizes. There's Guardi EX. He's going to retreat the Monkey Dory. How many is it? Yep, it's 3. So we can Roaring Scream for 120 and do meaningful math. It's pretty meaningful everywhere. Yeah, it's going to be on the Raging Bolt. He got there eventually. I'm going to Greninja. I finally see Grass Energy, and the Ogerpon are flowing. Very late to the party, but here we are. I'm going to Ultra Ball away Lightning and Bundle. And I'm going to take another Ogerpon EX. Probably just wanted to get an energy in the discard pile here for a Sada. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Actually, probably should have put the fighting on the active right there. Unless I'm already eyeing up a Gust play. Maybe I have Prime in hand. I have Manual Attachment anyway. I suppose that's reasonable. Thinking about Switch Cart, that doesn't make too much sense. We're going to Pokestop. Do see a couple item cards. Get rid of a Grass in the process. I suppose we're just going to take the one with Sandy Shocks here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Finish off the Screamtail. I do still feel extremely behind at this point. And I also think, honestly, the second fighting... I should have either just held fighting or just put the Sada second energy on the Sandy Shocks. Because it never really hurts. Like, there's no point in it being on that benched EX. It's, like, always getting discarded. Jack is holding on to Countercatcher, so he has his pick of the bunch. It's going to be the Greninja, and then he's going to Iono. Not sure why he's not just going for a two-prizer here. Like, I'm at 1. He can even just attack with Guardi EX at this point. We're going to see Curlier get rid of a Cress. Then we're going to see Greninja get rid of a Psychic. That's just a Ralts. He does need to evolve. He does have one in hand. There goes another Psychic Energy. We have a Rod, so he can get back the Screamtail with Artisan and use it again this turn if he wants to. Kind of rewarded for what I think is probably a greedy line there. Like, if he doesn't hit Recovery, this Greninja in the active is just terrible. I think he should have just attacked with Guardi into, like, an Ogerpon here, or finish off the one Bolt that's 3 energy on. But regardless, he's able to retreat and goes 3 to Screamtail again. He can Monkey Dory the 3 off the Guardi. And he's just going to start prepping an Ogerpon for a Guardi EX later on. And he's also able to throw a Stamp into the mix, which is not nice. It does make the trap of Greninja look better with a Stamp. As he takes the 2. It's exactly where you want to be as Guardi. You've lined up 2 pretty easy ways to take your final 2 knockouts. Like this turn and next turn, you can use Monkey Dory and all sorts. We're going to see 1 from Ogerpon. We're going to use Greninja. We're going to Trekking Shoe. And we're going to keep a card. Then we're going to Pokegear. And we do hit Sada, so that's nice. I can go back into my Sandy Shocks. Unless I have Prime Catcher. That'd be the only play that would be better here. We're going to throw a Grass onto the Sandy Shocks. And Fighting onto the Raging Bolt. We do have Vessel, so I can pay Retreat now if I need to. I still have one more Ogerpon draw. Oh, there's Nightly Stretcher in hand. That's interesting. Oh, we actually have the Switch Cart. So we are going to go into the Sandy Shocks. And we'll just take out the Screamtail again, going on to even prizes. The only good news is that I still have my Vacuum around, so if Jack ever does need to go through my Raging Bolt with something like Drifloon, I could maybe punish that. I'm on even prizes as well, so it's hard for Jack to find his one boss, or at least I'm hoping so, to take 2 this turn. I don't see it in hand. He does have a lot of draw on the board, though. Going to start with Greninja. going to Curlier away and Arven. Picks up Monkey Dory and Guardy EX. Not great for now. Yep, it's just going to throw away a Monkey Dory. And I think his missing boss here, by the looks of things. So now he's going to have to make a weird line. He can 1-for-1 this Sandy Shocks. Then he probably has to Churro at some point. Oh, might be even now. If he Churros this turn after using Guardy EX to power something up. Yeah, he has Drifloon, so he can just Drifloon KO the Sandy Shocks. And pick up the Guardy this turn and read bench. So that he forces me back onto odd prizes. Monkey Dory is still ticking over. As more energy come onto the Drifloon. And yeah, with the whiffed boss, it is going to be the Guardy EX. And benches Rolts. And Jack is forced to take the 1, but he's done it in a manner where he still stays ahead. So that's something. I go Raging Bolt. I have a Nightly Stretcher. It's going to be for another Raging Bolt. We're going to attach a Lightning Energy for the turn. We're going to Ogerpon for 1. And we're going to play an Iono of our own, which is really nice, because I think Jack had double Guardy EX in hand, actually. He still has a lot of draw on board, but might get a little bit awkward for him. If I could get a Catcher Heads or something this turn, that would be massive. If I could take out a Curlier, it would be great. I'm going to throw away a Vessel, see an extra card. What else are we looking at here? I'm going to poke a stop. I think I'm definitely digging for Gust here. Looks like we don't get it, so we're just going to deal with the Drifloon, and Jack is able to keep a Curlier around, which is pretty helpful for him. I think I took a catcher off prizes. I think I may have actually just prized both of my regular catchers. I think it's only Prime in the deck, if memory serves. So I was digging for exactly Prime there. Jack is going to poke a stop. Gets a nice couple items off that. Is able to roll straight away. He's going to get Drifloon back, as well as Screamtail. He's going to burn a Poffin before what looks like an Iono here. Jack's going to have a quick look of resources. Whether or not it's worth putting an energy back in with his rod. So yeah, he went Drifloon, Screamtail plus the energy, so he has more draw from Greninja possibly. He's actually going to refine away Manaphy. Hits Energy Vessel. He's going to Vessel away Flutter. Takes double Psychic. Greninja's going to get rid of Darkness Energy. You do see Drifloon. That's pretty helpful, actually, because he has the Bravery Charm in hand. So we could do Charmed Drifloon. Oh, we see a third Curlier. Another Iono. One's going to be discarded. Is that Countercatcher now in hand? He could countercatch Ogerpon, maybe. So that if he just draws into Guardy, he can finish that off, and then he's not threatened by Bravery Charm being taken off the board by tool removal. So that's actually the only way I take 3 prizes next turn, right? If I tool remove the Drifloon, if it is heavily damaged and KOs my active, he could lose to Gust plus a tool removal. But he does eventually find EX, so that's pretty massive. And it looks like he might be Screamtailing my Greninja this turn. We are going to see Monkey Dory just onto the active, and Jack's going to take out the Greninja here. I'll draw. I'm going to Pokestop. You can see there I did actually hit the vacuum, so I could have had a decent chance if he had gone the Drifloon line, so this was definitely a better choice. Let's see what's in hand. I can see catchers now. Just late to the party, really. I've drawn pretty much everything out of sequence this game. I'm going to Nightly Stretcher back a Fighting Energy so I can attach this turn. I do have Boss's Orders. I go Curlier. And then I'm going to Pal Pad some Sardas back. Definitely trying to buy time here. Gonna pop down another Ogerpon. And are we just going down fighting? Is that what's happening here? Let's see. Jack seems to be digging for something. Loses Boss, Ino, and Guardi EX. Is he just not enough Psychic Energy, possibly, to finish off this this Raging Bolt? He can retreat too. He must just need a Psychic still in the deck, right? Let's see with Artisan. Yeah, he has 2 Psychic left. So he should be able to get there. There's Greninja, and he's able to find the Bravery Charm. He goes to 0 cards in deck, and the Screamtail is enough, and he will plonk it all on the active to take the final 2. So yeah, some interesting Guardi action. You can see there that it's pretty tough to play. There's just a lot of intricate lines with the deck, so you can see why we were taking stuff back and resequencing with the deck, because that is still what it's all about. But yeah, Gardevoir still very powerful, still some more tricky matchups to navigate, but I think with the combination of Double Monkey and Flutter, you do still cover a huge amount of matchups there. So still a really powerful deck. Let's talk about some other options that could come into this list. As always, I wanted to show quite a basic streamlined version of the Gardevoir, but there are plenty of techs that I'm also considering here. As for different attacking Pokemon, Mew EX is certainly an interesting one, giving yourself a few additional cards, even in late game situations when Iono can start making things a little scrappier. But also that Genome hacking attack still is very powerful. It's still notably very good into the Lost Zone variants, where they will have Greninja to copy, as well as the Charizard variants, where you can push into a late game situation. Of course, we can do some prep damage with Monkey Dory as well, so hacking the Burning Darkness is oftentimes a great finishing move. Mimikyu is still an interesting inclusion. It is sometimes still a headache for the Charizard players. And even though I really enjoy having double Fluttermane to improve our Devo strategy, I do think Klefki gives us still one of the better defenses into the Regidrago players as well as Raging Bolt. The one caveat I have to that is that Klefki will shut down your own Manaphy. So if the Regidrago player does still pull off the Kyurem attack, the Klefki is actually going to really hurt you. There still are some other item cards, of course, we could consider because we are an Arven-based engine. Nightly Stretcher is a great way to steal some spaces where you can just maintain your Curliers that much better, as well as give yourself more opportunities to get Monkey Dory Darkness energy. Lost Vacuum can still target a number of stadium cards and some powerful tools in the format right now. And there's still going to be the question mark of Hyper Aroma versus the Unfair Stamp. I'm actually leaning more and more toward the Hyper Aroma since this video. My main logic behind it being is that I want to go first in a number of matchups with Gardevoir when I'm in a blind scenario, and Hyper Aroma gives me a little bit more extra confidence that we can get a good board state rolling on that second turn of the game. The list currently also isn't really respecting the Lugia matchup too much, so it very much could be worth including a Temple of Sinnoh or Enhanced Hammer, E-Hammer being the more searchable option, whereas Temple of Sinnoh has that upside of being a just generic stadium bounce in a number of matchups. Along those lines, you could also think about Collapse Stadium coming into the deck list. At the moment, we only have the Churro to pick up our Gardevoir EX, but having a Collapse is another way that you could represent a single prize board and allow yourself to evolve into another Gardevoir EX to close out the game on the following turn. Palpad has been a card often seen in Gardevoir in the past, and even if we want to get more disruptive with it, we could think about having the likes of Eerie in the deck list. If we're already playing TM Devo, this card gains a lot more value in these evolving matchups where we can target some rare candies. And the final tech worth thinking about is actually just a 1-1-0 line of the Dusklops. Oftentimes that 5 damage counters is going to be enough with a Cursed Bomb because we already have Monkey Dory as well as the Fluttermane to chip in here. I'd like this even more if once again you go towards the Hyper Aroma package, because it's just another stage 1 you can pull out of the deck with this card. Let me know your thoughts on Gardevoir. What did you you think about the battles and the deck list that I represented? Do you think this archetype still has what it takes to be the top contender going into the World Championships, even with more spotlight on the archetype, as well as some new dangerous cards coming out from this set? I'll hear it all down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers.